Hi guys, how are you today? Today I'm back with two crazy stories for you. The first one is a long one. It's about OP's husband who decided to have kids with his colleague. How crazy is that? Listen to the end because there is an update. Enjoy, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I am honestly in a bit of shock after hearing everything that has transpired in the last 24 hours and need some unbiased opinions to get me through. A little background. My significant other and I have been married for 4 years and together for 7. He is a civil engineer who is more so ambivalent to his career. His real passion lies in his hobbies, our relationship, and his friends. I am an emergency medicine doctor, and this is my passion. I love my husband, my friends, and I have hobbies, but my work is my absolute passion. Becoming a doctor was my dream since I was 12, and I have made it a reality. Now, my issue. About 14 months ago, my husband was pushing me to get pregnant. He wanted a baby. I honestly did not. I was finally hitting my stride at work. We just bought our first condo together and weren't living a really friendly kid life. I did not tell him this, mostly because I was a coward and we had never really disagreed before. So I kept my mouth shut and decided it wouldn't be a huge sacrifice to have a baby. I could make it work. We got pregnant. I was miserable. Pregnancy did not suit me, and I wanted it to be over. I felt disconnected from everything, especially my pregnancy, and sought out therapy. My therapist told me that I was holding resentment against this baby, as I was in a great spot in my career and was more worried about that than my unborn child. She was right. I worked on this, and towards month 6, I was really excited to have this baby. My husband and I were in a better place. My resentment and attitude really hurt our relationship during this time. Everything was going great, until it wasn't. Around 7 months in, our baby was born as a stillbirth, and I had some horrible complications, which have caused my chances at ever getting pregnant at an incredibly low percent. I know that I am never getting pregnant. After the initial shock, recovering from the physical trauma and the emotional trauma, I won't lie, but I felt relieved. Massive relief. I didn't want to be a mother then, and I will down the road, but I am a firm believer that this was just not meant to be. My husband took this harder, but with some therapy on both our ends, we seem to be in a good spot. Until last night. Last night, my husband approached me and said that he really wants us to have a kid and forgives me for losing our son. He knows that I cannot conceive, but reminded me that he is more than capable. I had to remind him that we have no options. If we want a baby, then we need to look into adoption or getting donated eggs and going the surrogacy route. And right now, we aren't in a financial position for either. Then he asked, what if there was another way? Naturally, I asked, what? He told me that there was a woman at work that he has known for several years. Apparently, she knows about all of our marital problems and knows all about my health issues over the past year. He said that they recently went to drinks together. I was on an overnight shift, and after a few drinks, she offered to not only donate eggs, but to be our surrogate. This seems too good to be true, right? Yep. She will only do this if my husband impregnates her the natural way, having sex with her during her ovulation period until she gets pregnant. I was baffled by this. First, he was considering it and seemed genuinely excited for this. Second, that this woman would offer such a thing without having met me. And finally, that he had shared such intimate details with her. He said that he then followed up with her when they both were sober via text, and she responded, "Oh, I would love to have your baby." This seemed odd to me, and I questioned the mental stability of this woman. But then, my husband's entire demeanor shocks me. I told him I wasn't sure about this. If we go the surrogate route, I would prefer it all be anonymous, and our surrogate be a stranger. I don't want this getting messy or having to worry about running into the egg donor. Instead of seeing the validity of my opinions, he told me that having a baby with him was non-negotiable, that this friend wants to help us. He wouldn't mind doing it her way, and it would be the most cost-effective since we just discussed how we cannot afford it at this time. He told me that if I love him and want a baby, then I will do this for him. I tried to explain to him that I am not sure if I am ready for this, and that I don't know if I am comfortable with all of this, especially with him sleeping with someone else. He brushed that off, telling me that it is no big deal if he were to sleep with her, and that I am overreacting, that he had stood by me while I got my dream, and he was left alone, ignored. I never knew he felt this way, and that I owed it to him to let him do this. Today, I looked up this woman on Facebook, and she is very attractive. I would say that my husband and I are both average looking, but she is definitely striking, which makes my anxiety go even higher. Why do this for us? I don't get what she gets out of this. Am I overreacting? This seems completely bizarre for me, and I am questioning everything in our relationship. What should I do? I don't think OP is overreacting at all. That's very strange what her husband is asking her. Personally, I'd insist to meet this woman and discuss it with her. Not because I would ever consider doing this, but just to try to understand if she's nuts, having an affair with him, or wanting an affair with him. It's almost certainly one of the three. But under no circumstances ever would I have a surrogate child through someone known, who my spouse sees every day. It is just completely impossible for that to end well. I think that once she is pregnant, she is going to change her mind about giving up the baby to both of them, and use the pregnancy to leverage him getting a divorce. I think she has a plan to run off with OP's husband. I spoke with my husband on Tuesday after he got home from work and before I had to leave for work. I explained to him that even though I do want kids down the road, I would not be comfortable with his friend being our surrogate, and that this would not change for me. Ever. All of it made me uncomfortable and honestly made me question his fidelity. He was shocked by this. His exact words are you saying that I cheated on you?" I laid it out for him, pointing out a lot of things that were pointed out to me from my OP, and stated that even if he hadn't yet physically cheated, that he emotionally cheated. He said that he did have an emotional connection with her, but beyond that, nothing else. I asked him if they had kissing, anything romantic at all. He was baffled that I would even think this, and adamantly did not have any romantic contact with her. He reiterated that he loves me, and I am the only one he wants. The whole idea of this was because he wanted to give us a family and help repair the loss. This was just a way to do that, and he never saw it as cheating, because it would be something that we both agreed to. I told him that wasn't true, because he emotionally manipulated me, or tried to, into going along with it. I told him I needed to know what their relationship was like. He admitted that over the past year, even while I was pregnant, he confided in her about my obvious lack of interest in the pregnancy, my disdain towards motherhood, his fear of me hating our baby, and the issues that persisted in our relationship. Apparently, she was shocked that I would feel this way towards a baby. She told him that she has only ever wanted to be a mother. Since then, they have gotten only closer, but he denies that it has ever gotten physical, or that he felt any romantic inclinations towards her. He said that the surrogacy was completely her idea, and she has been hinting at it for weeks, telling him how she would carry our baby for us, how he deserves to be a dad. But he informed her that we did not have any frozen eggs, so our options were egg donation or adoption, which we couldn't afford. No problem, she suggested to use her eggs, which is how the plan took shape. He said that they could do artificial insemination, but she said she didn't want medical records of this, and natural insemination would keep costs down. I asked him what the duck was he thinking talking to her about stuff like this, and thinking that this was okay. He looked like a deer caught in headlights. I asked him how he would feel if I did this. If he was the infertile one, and I had an attractive doctor friend knock me up with no strings attached at his suggestion, how would he feel? He had nothing to say to this. I told him that I felt obviously betrayed by all this. Clearly, she has some sort of mental health problems and an unhealthy attachment to my husband, but beyond that, his relationship with her is inappropriate. He said, obviously I shared too much. No shit. I told him that I am upset that he forgave me for the loss of our baby, which I had no control over, and that he used to emotionally manipulate me. He apologized for that. He never meant it to come out like that, and in no way blames me. After that, everything calmed down, but I told him I needed some space from him for a bit. He asked if our marriage was over. I told him I didn't think so, but this has been a really emotionally turbulent few days, and I need to process it. He told me that he does not want our marriage to be over if this was something I was considering. He loves me more than anything and cannot bear to lose me over this. that losing our baby was devastating and has made him depressed, confused, and angry, but he does not want to lose me at all. I told him he should have thought about that before planning to stick his D in crazy. Not my finest moment. I told him that if he wants to keep open communication, he needs to cut ties with her. Obviously, he works with her, but nothing beyond whatever work contact they have to have. He needs to go to individual counseling and come to at least one counseling session with me per week. Before we left, he changed his phone number, blocked her on Facebook, and deactivated it. Told me that he would give me access to whatever I want to see, and that the relationship is severed, and that it was nothing more than what he has told me. His parting words were, "I just wanted to build a family with you," which absolutely gutted me. Wednesday afternoon, I checked his email. There was nothing. Nothing in the deleted bin or recover deleted items bin in Outlook. Facebook was hard to look at. There were a lot of chat messages between the two of them spanning the last 8 months when he added her on Facebook. Overall, his messages were friendly. A few times he was flirty, but never romantic or what I would consider too much for what should be friends. But hers were pretty clear in her meaning. The messages are clear. She's making some kind of play for him. I took screenshots of all the conversations. Don't worry, I triple-checked for any deleted messages, hidden apps, or other messaging services, and re-deactivated his Facebook. I have his iPad, so I was able to look at the iMessages on there. They appear to delete every 30 days, which left me with that to look at. Overall, all the texts and chats line up with his story, but the overall exchange about the logistics make me sick. She talks about making the baby as though it's a date, that she doesn't want it to be sterile or feel like she's being used. Her comments were inappropriate, but he never stopped her or corrected her. She even insulted me several times when he expressed concern about how I would feel, saying things like, "She's cold-hearted," and "maybe you should just do this on your own so you don't have to worry about her rejecting the baby." He didn't really stand up for me, but said that he didn't think I would do that. It was all very hard to read, but I feel better about my decision overall. We didn't really speak on Wednesday. He checked in a few times, but I let him know that we would talk Thursday. Thursday morning, he let me know that he turned in his letter of resignation Wednesday morning. He hasn't heard from her, but doesn't intend to seek her out to say goodbye either. He apologized. He just thought he was doing the right thing and thought this would make me happy. I still feel extremely betrayed. He is still dealing with the loss and other things. We both agreed that our communication has really deteriorated in the past year and that we need to fix this. So, no lawyer, no gym, just therapy for us. So after the update, I am 100% sure that this woman was never planning to give the baby to OP and her husband. She said that she always wanted to be a mother. So how come she would have given away the baby? No way. Her plan was to get the baby and OP's husband. Do you agree with me, guys? In a bit of a family pickle, my sister and I have always been close. We have another younger sister, 27 female, and an older brother, 36 male. All of us are married except for her. Let's call her Helen. She has been more focused on her career and enjoying the single life. Nothing wrong with that. A couple of years ago, Helen told me that she'd been pen paling with an inmate in a state penitentiary as part of a program. I thought it was very nice and encouraged her. I personally feel that these programs are incredibly positive and it works wonders for lifting the spirits of people who are locked up. Anyway, we didn't discuss anything about it beyond that. A year later, Helen sat me down to share that she's in love with this man, call him Ryan, and wants to build a life with him. At first, I was a bit confused, as I wouldn't think in a million years that my sister would find love in a prison, but I was overall happy for her. Who am I to judge, right? She showed me pictures of him, and he is indeed a handsome, charming man, even in a mugshot. I wanted to know more about him, and she gave me great details on everything but his crime. She would swerve right off topic. I found that a bit strange, coupled with the fact that he had served 14 years and was up for parole soon. I had this gut feeling that I wasn't getting the full picture. My husband, who is a cop, did some snooping, and my, oh my. Without going into many disgusting details, Ryan is an R. He was accused by more than a dozen women of D and R them, but was only convicted for 2 such crimes. There's a news article and all that on him, and many more disturbing details. I was shocked and frankly concerned for my sister. 6 months ago, Ryan had his parole hearing, which my sister attended, and got released. He moved in with Helen at her house. Honestly, if I were to just erase the information I knew about him, I would never suspect he is anything but the sweetest, kindest, most charming and caring man. We attended a few barbecues at their place, and I tend to forget who he is. Then suddenly, get this cold shiver down my spine. Ryan proposed to my sister, and they are to be married this fall. Our family is not taking it well. My other sister and brother are firmly against it and claim that they will never welcome Ryan in their homes. Our parents are also upset, but not as vehement. They keep saying that they want better for my sister than a criminal. Helen is also facing a bunch of crap from her coworkers and circle of friends. She is an anesthesiologist, and her friends are mostly uppity people who want nothing to do with a felon. My husband has been supportive of Helen and trying to help Ryan blend back into society. I can't say we are friends, but we talk a few times a week and meet up every now and then. So far, Ryan has done nothing to upset, disrespect, or make any of us question anything. At the same time, I acknowledge everyone else's concerns and reservations. My first and only priority is my sister's safety and well-being. If she is happy with this man, I want to be by her side. But at the same time, I would hate myself if something happened to her and blame myself for not being more vigilant. I can't describe it. It's just an uneasy feeling. I don't know how to be there for her when her parents, siblings, friends, neighbors are pushing her away because of him. I'm afraid she'll reach a point where they're just going to move away for a fresh start, and I don't want to lose my sister. What should I do? Should I discuss more with our siblings and parents about it, or just let them be? How can I support my sister, but also make sure she's not being taken advantage of? Edit. I should add a few extra details. My husband and I have set rules, including that I would not be alone with this guy at any time. We don't have children, but my other siblings do. Understandably, they don't want Ryan around. They met in person before he got released. She visited him in prison many times. I don't know if marriage was discussed prior to his release or after. My sister is infertile, health issues, so they won't be having any children. Perhaps a silver lining in all of this. I think there is no way OP can help or protect her sister in this case. She will have to learn from her own mistakes, I guess. Looks like OP's sister got charmed by this guy. As OP said herself, the sweetest, kindest, most charming and caring man. No one wants to admit it, but monsters wear very pretty faces. A huge chunk of serial, major crime committers are absolutely wonderful people. Funny, intelligent, sweet. That's the only way they can get close enough to their targets to do the things they do. Their public face is very good. This man has been in jail for 14 years, and for a very serious crime. And the major red flag is that he moved in with OP's sister, who he only knew by pen pal, immediately after getting out, proposing less than a year into the relationship, with intent to marry within a few months. Enormous, giant, massive waving red flags. All of this says he wants to ensnare OP's sister before his mask breaks. It's easy to pretend to be nice for a few months. Keeping pretending for multiple years is much harder. I think OP should try and be around her sister as much as she can, and be understanding. She's not the first to get trapped by a too charming man, and she won't be the last.